Alright, fellas. I literally can't tell if this guy is joking or not. It's possible he is, and if that's the case, then alright, my bad. I'm doing this video for a project and also sort of a test to work more on my editing skills. Um, the guy's original video is in the description. For the majority of my points, I won't even require a source, as I could literally just show the things to you in action. Doesn't mean I can do that for everything though, as you'll see in a few points. So for those few points, I'll have my sources in the description with timestamps so you can easily find them.
Guys, I'm Theo Joe, and you know what? I've heard too many people saying that PC is better than console, and I'm going to prove all of you wrong today. I'm going to tell you why consoles are clearly better than PCs in every way you can imagine. First of all, consoles have better cinematic frame rates. Your eye can't see above 30 frames a second, so it's useless to go up to 60. You're just wasting resources that could be put into graphics like they are on console.
Alright, this point is quite the spice. Look, anything under 60 is honestly terrible, but if you really wanted to, you can just limit the frame rate. I mean, it's not that hard. You can limit it to whatever you want. If that's your thing, you can. I'm going to show recording of both 30 frames and then 60 frames, and just look at the difference. I'm doubtful you won't notice it. Here's 30. And here's 60. And then 30 again. Now, 60 compared to 30, wasn't that just really fucking smooth?
Next, on console, it's way easier to keep track of all the buttons. On a PC, you gotta worry about all the buttons on the keyboard, so many different buttons, so many controls. On console, it's so simple, there's just a controller, the buttons are usually color-coded, not to mention there's only one thing as opposed to on a PC, you have to worry about controlling with two different devices. Such a pain. Console's clearly better in that respect.
More buttons? Look, first of all, more buttons isn't always bad. More buttons makes more room for extra mechanics. You can only map so many controls on a controller. On a PC, if you really want to make a game utilizing the entire keyboard, which is kinda dumb, the idea is still entirely doable without mapping buttons over top of each other, like with setting multiple controls to a single button press on a controller. Like pressing square to interact, inspect weapon, and reload. This also means if you're more comfortable with a certain key setup, you can map controls to any key press you choose, including buttons on your mouse. I mean, if you bought a mouse with a shit ton of buttons, you could technically map the buttons to nothing but the mouse if you really wanted to, which is, again, kind of dumb in my opinion, but PC is all about customization. If you want to do something fucking dumb like mapping every button to your mouse, you can. Alright, check this out. So, let's say I don't want to have my walk button set to the standard WASD like it is in every game. Let's say I want to do something dumb like a YGHJ instead. So my hand is right in the middle of the keyboard. And then I decide, hey, now I have more room to set other controls to nearby keys I now have open. Like V to jump, right alt to duck, fucking select next weapon, page up, and reload, page down on the mouse. Yeah. And with this setup, I don't even have to move my hands. I can just kind of, or move my fingers. I can just kind of leave my hands in place, you know, do what I gotta do.
Next are friends lists. How are you supposed to play on PC with friends if there's no friends list? You log into Xbox, you got your friends all there, you see who's online. Can't do that on PC. All you do is you log in, you get Internet Explorer. What good is that? I don't know why you'd ever use PC. You can't even play with your friends. And on top of that, there's no voice chat on PC. On Xbox, you got party chat, you got messages you can send people. Can't do any of that on Windows.
Hey fellas, what's up?
Not so much. How you?
Hello.
Bunny, you need to get a better mic, man.
The next reason is there's no modders or hackers on consoles. On PC, you got all these modders hacking the game and changing it and making it easier for themselves and changing characters and guns, and it's crazy. You don't got any of that on console. There's no modding on console, so there's no cheating, and you get to play the game the way the developer intended without anyone messing it up. So obviously, console's better with no mods.
I'll admit, you were pretty right on this one. Well, most of it anyway. I wouldn't doubt there are more hackers on PC, but you were also right about console not having mods. I can mod any game to add whatever features I want on PC, whether it be a new view model animations or a custom HUD, maybe a custom map, anything really. And the mods are not made to make the game easier. Well, not all of them. Some even make the game harder for a better challenge. But you can't really do any of that on console. Well, you can on some games, very few. And even then, your modding capabilities are limited. Alright, so here's Team Fortress 2, right? A game with like a lot of modding capabilities, okay? Now what I'm showing you now is the complete bare bones, you know, normal game. Right? You can hear the hit sounds. It's kind of a dingy noise. Keeps track of the view models. Those will change when I install the mods. Alright. Have you seen everything? I'm gonna go install it.
Come sing with me.
So, gonna install all of those mods. Got the view model mod here.
Run, coward!
You may not notice the difference, but to me it makes all the difference. It's just one of those small little things that I like to have personalized. See that the HUD has changed. And last but not least, the hit sound is really fucking gay, but I like it. So yeah, that's the end of my point here. And if you think installing mods to the files is hard, then that's fine. A lot of games, if allowed by the developers, have a built-in workshop where you can just kind of find, like, you know, maps, mods, all that shit, and to install them, all you gotta do is just press the big green subscribe button. This is a weird ass map though. I'm gonna delete this when I'm fucking done. What the hell? Here's the map I just downloaded. Holy shit! This is worse than I thought! Why does it look so bad? What the fuck is going on with the textures? Who did this? Why? Okay.
Damn! Think that took off one of my eyebrows!
This is... I can't do... This is like... Fuck. This is painting a bad picture of custom maps. Let me go find a better one. Yeah, see? There's a much better map.
And the next reason is really obvious. Consoles are just simply more powerful than PCs. How many times have you seen people asking, can my PC run this game? Is it powerful enough? Why don't you see people asking that for consoles? It's probably because all consoles are more powerful. You don't even have to worry about if it's powerful enough to run a game. They're so powerful that games can't even take advantage of all the graphics, so you never have to even worry to check if it's powerful enough.
People don't ask if their console is powerful enough, not because it's powerful. They don't ask because its game's frame rates are tested and the graphics settings are designed around its limitations. As long as your PC isn't like 10 years old, it can last and still run a lot of newer games without an upgrade. Of course, with the trade-off of having to lower your graphics and living with a lower frame rate. People ask if their PC can run it so they don't have to waste money on an upgrade when they may not need it, as their system might still be able to keep up, depending of course on the age of their parts. A good example is the GTX 670, which came out in 2012. And can you guess what game that can run? It's a pretty new one. I'm sure you've heard of it recently. Give you a few more seconds to guess. Yeah, that's right. Far Cry 5. As seen in the video linked in the description to show I'm not bullshitting you. Of course, it runs at 30 frames per second in the video, which is not optimal, but the guy says in the description that the game is running at 1080p and at medium graphics. You could turn down the resolution a bit, turn the graphics to low, and bam, I estimate 45 to 50 frames per second, which is completely playable if you don't want to upgrade yet and still want to squeeze as much out of your parts for as long as possible.
Everyone who's played console knows that it's way better to play on a bigger screen. You can't do that with PC, you gotta play on a little tiny monitor. Why would you play on a smaller screen? It just doesn't make sense. Console, you can play on as big a TV as you want. You can play on a big screen projector if you want. You can't do that on PC. You're stuck with a little computer monitor. I don't know why you'd ever want to play on such a tiny screen when you can get a huge one and be more immersed in a giant TV.
Alright, so here's my HDMI cable. You know, goes to the fucking TV. Just gonna plug it in. Turn the TV on. And would you look at that? It's my desktop. Strange, isn't it?
Now, the next reason is that PCs are just way too expensive. I mean, you look at Alienware, $2,000 to play video games, it's ridiculous. You can just buy a console for $400 and play every game you want. Why would you ever spend that much money on a PC when you could spend so much less and play the same games even better? I mean, it's pretty much just a waste of money at that point. I'll never understand it.
Alienware? Who fucking buys Alienware? Gaming laptop? Anyway, laptops cost more because they're built to run on low power, way less, and usually be tougher because laptops are moved often. Not to mention pre-builts cost more in general. I will say though, PCs can get pricey, but it's possible to have a set price range and still get some pretty playable performance, as I showed not long ago with the GTX whatever the fuck on Far Cry 5. Anyway, especially so if you buy the parts yourself and build the PC on your own, which, by the way, isn't very hard. Like, I built mine. Well, I mean, I had some help from my stepdad. I mean, more like, okay, yeah, he built, like, the majority of it. But, I mean, I did some of it. Anyway, building it's even kind of fun, especially when you finish it and you're like, yeah, I did that. Cool.
Next, there's just so many more games on console. You walk into GameStop, what do you see? Walls covered in console games, Xbox, PlayStation. Where do you see the PC games? Little tiny shelf. Why would you want to buy a PC when there's so few games on it? You can't even buy any games. What's the point of spending so much money? When you get a console, you walk into GameStop, you got a huge selection. There's so much more of a selection. I don't know why you'd bother buying a PC when there's not even any games for it.
What? Wait. No. You're serious? Alright. Well, first off, a lot of the games you guys have, as long as they aren't exclusives, we have them too. Second, why would you drive all the way to the store and buy a physical copy? Whatever. Anyway, on to the main point here. I looked around through all the online stores for each console, excluding the good old PS2, GameCube, etc., because we can emulate those. I took their numbers from their online stores, added them all together, and I got 15,625. Big number, right? Well, according to Steam Spy, there are currently 17,322 games on just Steam alone. That's excluding other distributors like GOG or random indie games downloadable from the web. And don't bring up how they're close, so it's not like a big deal or something, because actually they're only remotely close when you factor every console together. As a reference, the PS4, the current most popular console right now, has 2,675 games. Sources in the description if you'd like to add them up for yourself.
We're nearing the end, but the next reason is that more people play console. I mean, I don't know about you, but none of my friends play PC at all. Does anyone even play PC at this point? I mean, why would you want to play on a computer if there's no one else doing it? If I bought a PC, I wouldn't have anyone to play with. It's stupid. There's not even anyone playing on the PC. I know from first-hand experience.
Huh. Well, that's weird.
Finally, there's just more consoles to choose from. Look, you got one type of PC, but you got a whole bunch of different types of consoles. You got Xbox, PlayStation, Wii U, Dreamcast. All that competition makes games better, it makes the consoles better, but there's only one type of PC. It's just PC. Competition is necessary, and when you don't have a choice, the only person that wins is the PC Factory Corporation.
For one, there being one type of PC in the sense of they all run the same games, how's that bad? If your mate's playing a game on a console and you can't go join them because one of you has a PS4 and the other has an Xbox One, you're fucked. However, on PC, as long as you can run the game and you both have it, you're set. What do you mean no competition? There's plenty of competition. There's competition between distributors like Steam, GOG, Humble Bundle, etc. Not to mention the various companies that sell PC parts. Intel, GeForce, AMD, you know.
I'm sure by now I've been able to convince you that obviously console is better than PC.
Nah, man. Good effort, though.